What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. It's always Falcons Nation, rise up. It is another Falcons Friday, so TGIF. I hope you had a great week and I hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. But I want to talk to you guys about this upcoming weekend's playoff games in the NFL Divisional Round playoffs. Want to give you my predictions and want to talk a little bit about last week's games and how I did in my predictions. I actually went 2-2 last week in my predictions. On the AFC side of the bracket, I was 0-2. On the NFC side, I was 2-0 in my predictions. I did pick the Bills to beat the Texans, and I was wrong about that game. I did also pick the Patriots to beat the Titans, and I was incorrect about that game, surprisingly. And then on the NFC side, I did pick the Seattle Seahawks to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles, and I was correct with that one. And then I also picked the Vikings to upset the Saints, and I was correct about that pick as well. So I definitely want to go ahead and give you guys this week's breakdown of who I'm picking in these games. In case you're betting or something like that on the game. Personally, I don't bet on games and stuff like that. It's very rare that I bet on games. I can count maybe on one hand about how many times I bet on the Falcons or bet on LeBron or something like that. But in basketball, but I rarely like to bet. But if you're a betting person, hopefully this video can help you out. If you go with some of my picks, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys my picks for this week's games. So let's go ahead and run down real quick of who I'm picking in these games. I'm expecting it to be another awesome weekend of football. It was an awesome weekend last weekend of football. Some tight games last weekend. So hopefully we get some good games again this weekend. So in the first matchup, the Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers. I am taking the Seahawks in that game to win against the Packers. I think that Russell Wilson is going to be an X factor in that game. Personally, Russell Wilson was my MVP until I seen Lamar Jackson balling out of his mind this whole season. But I had Russell Wilson early in the season through like the first 7 weeks. He was kind of penciled in that MVP category because he was balling out as well. I think in this game, his ability to improvise and extend plays is going to be what's the difference in the game. Also, the running back out of the backfield, I think is also going to be an X factor. The guy Homer, I think he wears number 25. He's a rookie running back. He reminds me a lot of Philip Lindsay that plays for the Denver Broncos. I think that the Packers linebackers, middle linebacker Blake Martinez, I believe his name is. He's not the fastest linebacker side to side laterally, and I think he's going to struggle in those drop-off passes and like those quick out passes to those running backs if they run some option routes against him with Homer and on those little sweep plays. I think they're going to have a hard time containing that running back, the rookie running back for the Seattle Seahawks. And I also expect Beast Mode to have a touchdown in this game in the red zone, maybe a touchdown or two. But I do think that the Seattle Seahawks are the more physical team, and I think that they are going to prevail in this game. DK Metcalf is a beast. He pretty much exposed the Eagles secondary last week, and I figured that that's what was going to happen. That's what I said in my pregame while I was picking the Seahawks over the Eagles, and I feel the same way in this game. Now, the Packers do have better cornerbacks. The guy Alexander is a baller at corner. He's a very good cornerback, and they have some decent corners. I think they have Tramon Williams back with Green Bay as well. But they have some solid cornerbacks and safeties still playing in Green Bay. The rookie Savage at safety, he's a pretty good cover guy out of Maryland. They have some key players over there that's pretty good. You know, they have the two Smith brothers, Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith on the defensive line that are very stout and are going to try to get out the Russell Wilson. But I think Russell Wilson is going to be too good at extending the plays, and I think it's going to be too many big plays down the field made against Green Bay. That's going to be the X factor and the cause them to lose this game. And on the defensive side of the ball for the Seattle Seahawks, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright are two of the better linebackers in the game. I think they're going to do a good job of trying to lock down on Aaron Rodgers and his targets and stuff like that. They play a very vanilla defense that cover three kind of like the Falcons with the Seattle Seahawks, but they have very good linebackers and they're very stout up front. Pruna Ford, the nose tackle, is very good. And they have Jadeveon Clowney, of course, who can get after the passer. And they also have Ziggy Ansah, the former Detroit Lion. So I do have, in this game, I do have the Seahawks winning that game. In the next matchup in the NFC, I have the Minnesota Vikings over the 49ers. I think that the Vikings are going to go ahead and win that game on the road. So I have the two road teams, the two underdogs, actually going to the NFC Championship game. The 49ers remind me a lot of the LA Rams in 2017 when they played the Falcons in the wild card matchup when we went to LA. That year, right after the Super Bowl, we went back to the playoffs the next year in the wild card round, and we had to play Sean McVay and the LA Rams, who was like an upstart and up-and-coming team, and we defeated them on the road, and I felt like they were just a young team still learning how to play and learning how to win, and I feel like the 49ers have a ton of young players that have never experienced the playoff atmosphere, and I think that the moment's going to be a little bit too big for them. And I think that the Vikings have a lot of veterans on their team, and they've been around that NFC Championship, Super Bowl. They've been right there on the cusp of making a Super Bowl the last couple of years. If you remember in 2017, they had the Minnesota Miracle where Diggs made that game-winning touchdown catch against the Saints. And then they had that game winner just this past weekend with Kyle Rudolph in the back of the end zone against the Saints. So I feel like the Minnesota Vikings are definitely a well-coached team. Mike Zimmer is an excellent defensive mind, and I think that he's going to be ready for anything Kyle Shanahan has to draw up on the offensive side of the ball. Mike Zimmer has been around for a very, very long time. He's a very solid coach, and I think that the front seven is going to get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's going to be under immense pressure in this game, and I think the Saints coming off of that win out of the dome, out of that Saints dome, where that's a hostile environment. If you can go there and win on the road, it's not many places tougher to play in than the Saints at the Saints. And they went in there and passed with flying colors. They held their composure and they went in there and upset the Saints. And I think they're going to go in and upset the 49ers as well. I just think that the 49ers are a little too young and they need about a year or two to get used to the playoff atmosphere. They have a lot of rookies on their team. Deebo Samuel, Breida is not he's not a rookie, but he's a young player. They're a running back, and he's kind of prone to fumbling the ball lately. The linebackers Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr and those guys for the Vikings, they're going to get after the quarterback of Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think it's going to be really, really tough on the 49ers in this game. And I think they're going to do a good job also of shutting down that running game for the 49ers. Because the 49ers, they are a team that likes to run and set up play action. But I think they're going to do a good job of covering Kittle, meaning Eric Kendricks, the linebackers. They have some excellent linebackers for the Vikings. And I think they're going to do an excellent job of covering Kittle. I think Kittle will have a decent game. But I don't think that they're going to allow him to be the X factor, allow him to dominate them. Just like they shut down, for the most part, Michael Thomas last week. I really think that they're going to try to take George Kittle out of the game, and they're going to bring a lot of pressure to try to shut down that running game and put the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands. So it's really going to come down to how many plays Jimmy Garoppolo can make. Him and Emmanuel Sanders. It's going to really come down to them. Deebo Samuel, those guys on the outside are going to have to make plays in this game in order for the 49ers to walk away with a victory. But I really see the Vikings taking that game. In the next game, the Chiefs and the Texans, in that matchup, I'm actually going with the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. I don't see them losing 2 years in a row on their home turf. They lost last year to New England in the AFC Championship game at home. I don't see that happening this time. Their defense has kicked it into gear with Chris Jones, the nose tackle, an excellent Pro Bowler nose tackle that they have. And they have excellent players on that side. Frank Clark, the former pass rusher from the Seattle Seahawks. I really think that he's going to be prepared for this game to get after the quarterback. Tyrann Mathieu is a playmaker in that secondary and also an X-factor player and can definitely take over games back there and be a ball hawk. And they just have too many weapons. I feel Pat Mahomes has too many weapons. He has that whole track team over there, 4-2 guys and 4-3 guys with Hill, Tyreek Hill, Miko Hardman, all of those guys. Travis Kelce. I just think that they have way too many weapons. LaShawn McCoy, Damian Williams in the backfield. They just have so many weapons, and I feel like it's about time that Andy Reid makes it to another Super Bowl. So I really do think that they're at least going to the AFC Championship game, and determine it's going to depend on who comes out of the AFC in that other game for me to see who's going to go to the Super Bowl. But right now, I definitely have the Chiefs going to the next round. I think that Deshaun Watson is going to be under a ton of pressure, just like he was under pressure last week, where he was able to make miraculous plays out of nothing, like the one play when it looked like he was about to be sacked in overtime, and he broke 2 tackles. I don't think that he's going to have the same luck this game. And sometimes they say it's better to be lucky than good. So I don't want to say that the Texans don't have any chance, because I always say with football, it's any given Sunday. And I do think that the Texans have a chance in this game. Anytime you have an elite wide receiver like Hopkins that's plays for the Texans, and you have a pretty good quarterback in Deshaun Watson, you always have a chance. But I don't see the Chiefs wetting the bed on this one. I think that the Chiefs are going to be ready to play. I think Andy Reid's going to have those guys ready to play, and I think that those guys are going to go ahead and take care of business in that football game. Now, in the last matchup, which I think is going to be probably the most intriguing matchup in this weekend's games, the Ravens and the Titans. This is a very, very bitter matchup, bitter rivals. This goes back to the 2000-2001 seasons when Ray Lewis and Eddie George used to go up against each other. Steve McNair, God rest his soul, when he was alive playing quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. This goes back to those days, man, when they was ground and pound, hardcore, hard-nosed football. I think this is going to be another one of those ground and pound games, a defensive game. But I do think that the Ravens are going to prevail in this game. I really don't see I really don't see Lamar Jackson losing in this game. He's played like an MVP all season. And I think that that's going to continue in this game. I think the type of offense they run with that option style offense is very hard to stop. And Lamar Jackson is a player that you really can't scout or can't plan for. The stuff that he does on the field is more like a freestyle or street football, where you can't really disguise or really do anything to really stop him. You can try to do your best to contain him, but just the way how athletic he is, he kind of puts you in a mode of a Michael Vick, that he can do anything at any point in time, and he's so fast and his acceleration is so crazy that even when you think you have him, it's like you don't have him. So it wouldn't surprise me if Lamar Jackson has a long touchdown run in this game. But I do think that Hollywood Brown, he probably connect with Hollywood Brown on a deep pass in this game, or Willie Snead, or one of those tight ends that he uses down the seams. And I think that they're going to run the ball, ground and pound it with Mark Ingram. And they're going to do their best, to, shut down the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans do have a chance in this game. I don't want to make it seem like they have no chance. They definitely have a chance in this game to win this game, because they beat the defending champs. And if you can beat the champs, the Patriots, I don't care who the Patriots trot out there. Bill Belichick is one of the best coaches at scheming. And Mike Vrabel last week definitely outcoached his former coach in Bill Belichick. Mike Vrabel had a great game plan, and I expect them to have a great game plan in this game. And if they play the same way they played against the Patriots, and they control the line of scrimmage the way that they controlled the line of scrimmage last week, they will win this game, because the Titans, the way that their path to victory in this game will be giving the ball to Derrick Henry and try to run it down the throats of the Ravens and try to play ball control, keep Lamar Jackson in that weird option offense and high explosive offense on the sideline. If you can control the time of possession and you can score touchdowns in the red zone when you get in the green zone or in the red zone, they have a serious chance at winning this game. And they do have some explosive young players. A.J. Brown at receiver has really caught fire this season. Corey Davis that they drafted a couple years ago is starting to pick up steam. Jonnu Smith The tight end came out of nowhere when Delaney Walker went down with injury. He's popped out of nowhere. Even Ryan Tannehill was kind of looking like a journeyman quarterback. He was with the Miami Dolphins for all of those years that when he was drafted, and I never really took him seriously. I didn't think that he was a good quarterback, but he has proven since Marcus Mariota was benched, he has taken over that locker room, and he basically took the job and never looked back. So Ryan Tannehill has played very, very well. I think he might have made the Pro Bowl for the AFC, but he's played very, very well this season, and I have nothing but praise and high hopes for Ryan Tannehill. Maybe he'll get that big contract that he was trying to get from the Dolphins, or maybe he'll get that big contract to basically solidify him being the Titan starter for next year. But he definitely has come in as the backup and stepped right in and look and played like a starter. So I think this is going to be a very good game. The Titans also have a very solid defense. They have some guys in that secondary, Kenny Vaccaro and Byard and Logan last week from the Patriots. He had an interception. So they have some guys on that side of the ball that plays very physical and that can be ball hawks. Those linebackers played like land sharks last week. They were coming downhill on the Patriots offensive line, and they were coming down, and it looked like players were missing blocks because they were coming down and really putting a lot of pressure on Tom Brady, and they basically locked down the running game. It was basically the running game was non-existent. So I really think that this is going to be an excellent game, but I'm taking the Ravens in this game. So my NFC Championship game should consist of the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings to go to the Super Bowl. And my AFC matchup is going to consist of the Ravens and Chiefs, which should be a good AFC Championship game if that's what it ends up turning out being. But this has been your boy Jew. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please place down below who you have winning these games. But I definitely holler at y'all in the next video. I'm definitely going to do a video talking about the players that the Atlanta Falcons may draft. I've been looking at and studying a lot of different game film of a lot of different players in college because I'm not big on watching college football all the time. Normally, I will check out my Auburn Tigers. I am an Auburn Tiger fan in college football, but I don't watch it every single weekend, and I'm not as I don't stick with it as well as or follow it as much as I follow my Atlanta Falcons. But I do kind of check it out. I watched some of the bowl games this year. I'm definitely going to check out the national championship game on Monday with Clemson and taking on LSU. That should be a pretty good game. So I'll check out that game. But I've been going in and watching a lot of these different college tapes on YouTube and watching highlight reels of different players to see what player I think the Falcons should select with that 16th overall pick. So y'all just continue to tune in. I'll definitely have another video for y'all soon. Please hit that, like I said, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done a video. But this has been your boy Jew. I love every single one of y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll holler at y'all later on in the weekend, but we can talk a little bit about the games that went on. But all right, I'll holler at y'all in the next video. Peace.